Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Till the Dirt, Shahs Rewatch. And I have to say, and this is to no offense to any of the beautiful ladies that have co hosted with me so far, but this is easily my favorite co host. And she will always be my favorite co host. This is the famous, if you're a day one dirty, Jessica has been mentioned on the podcast many a time. Uh, Without further ado, it's my best friend. Hi, Jessica. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm good. Do you want to introduce yourself? Tell people who you are or what?
Yes, I am Tommy's best friend since I'd say, 16
Yeah, kids, not
kids.
like little kids, but you know, a lot younger.
Teenagers, I'd say in our 20s, right?
Yes.
And big fan of the Shahs since before Tommy ever met MJ, so it's been fun for me.
Yeah, let's go a little behind the curtain even before that. Like when I first started to date my wife, we were together for a little while before she came clean. As people who listen to the pod know, before she came clean and told me that she was on one of these shows, my go-to once she told me was to call Jessica and find out because I know she watches a lot of reality TV. And right away, she knew, she knew she was happy. She said that, MJ and I would be a good match. But do you remember what else you said?
I don't.
Your Her mother is very mean. And I think in tonight's episode, we get a little taste of that. We get a
Yep,
little taste of why
yep.
you felt that way. Um, Before we jump into the episode, we got a little bit of history that we have to clear up. Now, remind you when I ask you this question, Jessica, as I said, you're my best friend. I know you a long time. I know you're a lot longer than her. But we've had this conversation before on the podcast about when my wife and it's apropos because my wife's birthday is going to be in like a week, 2 weeks actually. When we went, and it wasn't on her actual birthday, so I don't want people giving me shit for that. But it was like for her birthday, we went to the Lionel Richie concert, and she was being very rude. She's being very mean, and I called you because Lionel Richie, because Mariah Carey opened up for her, and she had this song that you and I used to sing together, and she left. Who was in the wrong with that, Jessica? Now, again, we're friends a long time, and I know you a lot longer than her. Who
Mhm.
is wrong?
I think I've told you this before.
I'm hoping that with more time comes more wisdom.
That you were in the wrong?
Yeah, I think you told me I was in the wrong, but
Yes, I
again, I'm
told
hoping that you would change
I
that.
I I I understand where you were coming from, but
Okay.
I still can't say that I blame her for getting upset. If I were in her position, I would also get
All right.
upset.
How very diplomatic of you, Jessica. You gladly have my support when you run for office. Um, so now, without further ado, let's jump into this episode. And so far in this season, well, first off, how big a reality television fan are you? That's
Wait,
something I'd
can I
like to
just
go
go
down.
back to? I want to go back to my answer.
Go ahead.
I just want to also say I think her and I both knowing that you innocently called me for Mariah Carey because we like the song and for no other reason. But I think
Yes.
she only realized that later on. At the time when you're first dating, I would have also been mad. But I think we both realized later on where it came from.
Oh, that's talk about platonic, a platonic answer. There you go,
But
Jess.
don't you agree? Isn't that the
Yeah,
truth?
but
So if she called another guy while she was with you at the concert, right?
yeah. After I mean she was being to me so far, I told the guy, "Listen, fucking run, bro, run, run, hang up the phone and fucking run, bro. What are you doing?" Um, but um, and I know it's not just you. I know it's your sister too, and your little coffee clutch of friends. I know that you are all very much into reality television, but what are you watching right now? What's in your wheelhouse?
Well, right now I'm watching reruns of the New Jersey Housewives because that's what's running on Bravo all day long, and it's so much
Okay.
fun. But I watch everything. I watch Summer House. I watch all the Real Housewives. I watch The Valley, Vanderpump, of course. RP. I don't know if it'll be around anymore, but
I
all of
I
them.
know.
All
Okay, so yeah, you really do watch all of them. Okay, so
of them.
as far
I go
as
on.
as far as Shahs is concerned, um, at this point in the season, not overall, right? At this point in the season, who you like, who do you don't like? What are you feeling so far?
So let's see. It's funny because watching it back, it changes.
It's
Um,
12 years ago. As I said it tonight at the end of the episode to a
wow.
great 2012. It's like, wow, that's 12 years ago. That's a
Yeah, I'm
lifetime.
so happy with that. Yeah. So at this point in the season, I like everyone, but I think Gigi's a little nuts.
Okay.
Um, she's coming for everybody, but then she tells you her backstory of why you feel for her a little bit. Um, I don't know. I think you kind of like everybody up till now, but everyone has shown, I don't know, a
You,
side.
you want to know what's ironic?
Wow.
My I guess you'd say best friend from that
Mhm.
universe is
Mhm.
probably Sammy, and
Mhm.
he's who I like the least on the show.
Well, I mean, I think in this day and age, like he would be canceled. I don't even know if he would be
That's
able
a
to
good
exist.
point. That's a good
Yeah.
point. That's a good point.
I
Especially if this was in
felt
the
strongly.
yeah, like right now, a little of that stuff is kind of subdued a little bit, but you're right. If it was in the throat, like in the high, when they're canning people from Vanderpump and this person's getting fired, and if this show was on then, he might have got his walking papers just from that.
I think what you would call it was like victim shaming what he was doing to MJ, pretty much.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we'll get to that, but even outside of this episode, he just, yeah, he like,
No, but this
I don't
episode
like
he
the
is
outfits.
worse.
I don't like the hairdo. I don't
That's
like
all
the,
fine. But you could look past it. In this episode, he tells the girl that she needs to lose weight or something, or if
yeah,
you're a little
you
more
got to tone
toned,
up.
yeah, you toned up.
You got to
And
tone
then
up.
he tells MJ to get over it. Then just
That-
basically, we'll get
That's
into it later.
right.
But like, it was awful. The whole thing was awful.
Yeah, so let's just start with so in the beginning of the episode, we see Gigi gets up with Mike, and she talks about that playful side, and what
Mhm.
I've never seen it. So it was good
I
to
don't
see. Like I've never seen that with Gigi. I really
think
haven't. But in her defense, and I don't defend her a ton, I haven't really had a lot of social interactions with Gigi outside of
Mhm.
cameras being there, right?
Mhm.
So she's got a persona that she now has, especially by the time I came into the picture, that she is on camera. And, outside of that, I haven't really had a lot of time with her, and definitely not a lot where, it's kind of in that type of setting where you're going to be playful or whatever. Um,
Mhm.
but it was good to
Although,
see.
even though when she says it, she's not really all that playful. She's just telling us that she
Yes,
is.
it's true. That's true. Yeah, a lot of Gigi, what she
Yeah,
says is contradictory to literally what you just saw. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like it's very yeah, she's a character, I'll tell you that. The one thing that I will say at the end of this season, and again, I don't want to go all the way to the end of but when they're at that final dinner, um, you could tell these are the characters. I mean, not
mhm,
Sammy. Sammy's gone, but the rest of them, it's like they established because Anita's not there. That
right.
other guy that was in it. There's other people that were in the show that don't make that cut,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
could, you know what I mean? Like you could tell that this is the best that Bravo at that time had the budget for, I guess. And they were like, this is who you're going to see going forward. But um, then after they leave, Reza goes or Reza calls and meets up with MJ, and they talk about how Vida doesn't love her, and you can
Mhm.
tell that hurt my wife, and it's not
So,
true. It's not true.
mhm,
Vida
mhm.
loves my loves my wife very, very much. She's just mean. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? She's just mean. She doesn't really know how to show it. She's also very they said it in the episode, and I wish I wrote that down, but she's very self-centered. She's just like she thinks of herself first. The only
Mhm.
person I've ever seen her kind of think of before her is Shams. That's it.
Mhm.
You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Everything else always responds or correlates to her. Like, I'll give you an example. Um, the Cohens that own the Mets, right? We've become friends with them. We're real fortunate. We've hit it off. She loves my wife, whatever. Um, Out of just their kindness, they sent us a box of Met shit. T-shirts, some signs, some bobbleheads, stuff like that. Just a bunch of stuff, and it was nice. Vida got upset that there was nothing for her. And it's like, she didn't even know you, lady. You know what I mean? Like, she didn't even know. I'm like, take whatever you want. She's like, no, 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 nothing's for me. What's for me? And I'm like, it's just like I said, and she had older brothers and sisters. And it's not like you're the baby. You've been treated
Mhm.
like a baby by your brother and your sister, right? But she's got a bigger gap. So they all kind of doted on her. And I think that might have a lot to do with it. But I do know that when you're with her for any elongated period of time, you'll pick up on that right away. Like, it's always how she speaks. It's always coming from her vantage point first. And I think she put that on her daughter a lot. Like, you know what I mean? She wants her to be like her, and
Yeah.
MJ's just not like her.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that, you know, but to hear your friends say that is tough. You know what I mean? It's tough to, you know,
Yeah.
tough to hear.
And especially you want to say that's not true, but then you'll sound as if like you're saying you're delusional about it or something. But because whatever the viewers are thinking, you know what I mean. But at the same time, that's not the truth,
You're
and
great
get to
point.
know that. Correct.
Because you know that, well, I mean, they might not know because it's their first season of doing this, but you're
Mhm.
right. It's like, man, you say that, and like, with the way they're going to edit this, it's only going to look like she's mean to me all the time and she doesn't love me, but she does love me.
Not even
But
for the show. I'm sure just in real life, if someone said that to her, you know what I mean? It hurts, and you're not going to say you're wrong about that because if that's how the other person feels when they see you together, you're just kind of going to. What she ended up doing is talking to her mother about it and saying this has to stop. We have to get to a better place. You know, like
it's a good
trying
point.
to get her mother to
It's a
understand.
good
You
point.
know,
It's a good point.
right?
Hey, man, it's not just a hat rack, Jess.
And
uh, Now,
I think she works on her mother throughout the years with that. And I think it does. I know until Shams was born, they didn't have as good as their relationship is now, but I think she worked on it throughout the years, MJ. It's huge. Instead of,
yes. Yeah,
you know what I
and
mean? Instead of getting mad and turning away from her, she just tried to get closer to her and tried to break that barrier,
well, I
which
think
worked.
that when Shams died, there was a continental shift
Yeah.
in the
Mhm.
relationship. I think she kind of knew that she can't be that ruthless
Yep.
bitch all the time when she doesn't have her dad for like to go to, because like, and again, I don't want to jump too far, because I do want to cover that date, only because I'm not entirely sure if the statute of limitations is up for sexual assault,
Yeah.
because that's what I watched. Like, literally, that was tough to watch, bro.
Me too.
That's my
Tough to
wife.
watch.
You know
Like
what
my
I mean?
thing
It's my
yes,
wife. It's like, bro, I ever see this guy in public, I'll karate chop him in the
honestly,
throat.
that's what I was
You know
going.
what I'm
That's
saying?
exactly that I was going to ask you the whole time. Like, how do you control the feeling you get? Like, don't you want to go and find him and be like, "What the
Yes,
hell?"
yes, yes, I do. And again, it's not just the element of what happened. Bro, this fucking camera's there, dude. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you're doing on
Yeah.
camera. I'd almost cut you a little bit more slack if there were no cameras and you went on a blind date. If the same situation and there were no cameras and you got handsy, I would understand it more. But like on camera, you're gonna act like he
You
mauled
know, that's
her. Like,
what bothered me the most. Like, does Sammy realize after he watches the show that, like, as he said, "Stop it," you were laughing and you were joking around. She's running across the street into traffic to get
running,
away.
running,
He's sad and be
running.
like, "Oh, I'm sorry," you know. I read the room wrong. Does he realize after what a mistake he made by saying, "Oh, stop it, you were having a good time"? You know,
I'll
like
be
she
honest
ran
with
it
you,
well.
I've never had that conversation with him. And like I said, right now, his dog, we're watching his dog for a month because he's out of town. Like where I see Sammy a lot. I've never seen the episode, obviously, and I've never had the conversation. I didn't, but I might have to be like, yo, bro, what the
Yeah.
fuck was that? You know what I mean? Like,
Did you
and
say sorry, actually?
yeah, like what, she's sitting right behind you. But like, yeah, it was all that to me. I gotta admit, was like a tough scene to watch. But
Definitely.
there's three different elements that came out. One, well, first when she was, just a little backstory for those listening. I know you know, but some. So I lived 2 blocks away from her apartment. And then after we like hooked up, I would come home from work and I would go by her and we'd hang out. And anytime, like that's her, dude. You'd see her outside in a sundress, walking those 2 fucking dogs. Like that's so like seeing that, it brought me back to that moment. You know what I mean? And then she was like, I haven't been excited to go on a date in a minute. Like I can remember when she was excited to go on a date with me. You know what I mean? Now it's kind of like, oh fuck, this guy's still here in the morning. You know what I mean? But yeah, that the other part is, why I get so proud of her and why I know that my son will always have a level of self-awareness and confidence
Mhm.
because of her. Like she fucking left, bro. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? She
Yeah.
left. No one was
Yeah.
like no one was helping her. Production wasn't stepping in. No one was
Yeah.
fucking, you know what I mean? This is all cool. She said, "All right, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here," and she left. And that's who my wife is. She's sure of
Yeah.
herself in every
Yeah.
capacity. And I give her a ton of credit for it because as we see later in that lunch with her mother, where the fuck you get it from? You know what I mean? But Vita's that confident. You know what I mean? Vita's that self-assured. Vita would do that. She doesn't impart that knowledge on my wife, but like kind of you do what you see. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And she's
And
seen her
obviously she
mother
does in
be
some
that way.
way, right?
Yeah. So she reacted, as such. But yeah, man, that was a tough scene, bro. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Because, like I said, put it this way, what you said earlier, so true. If that came on later and
Yeah.
this all that, they're fired here, you're fired there, and they filmed that, they would
Yeah.
never have filmed it, dude. I promise you, someone would step in and say,
Yeah.
listen, this she's saying no, this doesn't
Uh-huh.
look, you know what I mean? Like we have to break you guys up. Back then it was like, yeah, whatever. Stick your finger in it, see what happens.
You know what I appreciate about the episode though? I don't know if it was done on purpose, but it's like her mother wants her to get married because Persian girls at her age should be married already and having kids. And it's like she's all excited to go on the date, and this is the guy she gets set up with. Why doesn't she want to get married? Like, why don't you want to be with me? You know what I mean? Like, she's in a position where she's obviously not meeting anyone that's worthy. And I just feel like it
Definitely.
all fell into place, of telling the story of why she's doing her own thing and worrying about herself and her career and that type of thing.
100%. Um, the other girl I commend. The girl that was
Yeah.
that was set up. I mean, I know she was introduced as my wife's friend. I don't know if she was. I don't. You know what I mean? Sometimes that's malarkey, whatever. I don't know what their relationship is. I've never met that girl since. But she because again, that's her first foray into reality television. She fucking was like, "Fuck this camera shit." He doesn't look
Yeah.
like that. Doesn't look like it's cool. What's going on over there? Yeah, 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 yeah. Think about witnessing a crime, dude.
Yeah, and Sammy can tell she's in the bathroom. She's fine. She's good. She's having a break. She was like, no, no, that's
But
not what's happening.
that's more of my point of why I don't like Sammy on this
Mhm.
show. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like that's not him really either. You know what I'm saying? Like he's hey, she's great. Because he doesn't want to that's a Persian thing, dude. That's why my wife is so commendable. Her mother too, because they are themselves. A lot of the men especially, the Persian men do not want to look bad on TV, dude. You know what I
Well,
mean?
he's
And I think
that test, let me tell you. Big time.
yeah, yeah. And I think it backfired on him big, bro.
Yeah.
I think that he's trying to keep himself looking cool and like looking like he's the alpha, so to speak. And at the end of the day, he looks like a dick.
Yeah.
He treats his friend like shit. He's talking about the other girl losing or toning down. Like, what are you doing, Sammy? What are you doing?
Not good at all.
Yeah, it was not. Um, oh, Gigi's date. Gigi's date came after my wife's date. Talk about another fucking crime scene. Oh man, that's terrible.
Did you see when Gigi said that she hasn't dated in 6 years? What is she, 24 in the episode? Like, she hasn't dated since she's 18?
And not just that, they totally glossed over it. Like someone should have been like, "Yo,
oh,
bro,
yeah.
you know what I mean? You don't think this is a red flag that you haven't had any dates?
You're just
You know,
playing with your knives and your little
yeah. But then she was on the date, and I gotta admit, man, this was my favorite scene of Gigi the whole season because you could tell she didn't know how to be on a fucking date. You know what I mean? And even in her talking head, she was like, "What the fuck was I?" Like she's like, "Yeah, Charles Manson, Jeffrey Dahmer. Tell me more about it, and let's have babies." Like, what the fuck? Get
and then
this
she
guy.
said, bye.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He was like, "All right, see you later."
Why she hasn't dated in 6 years? Maybe.
Yes, yeah. That was a little bit of a snapshot of why you might be having a problem, you know.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a fun. I got a kick out of that scene. It was funny. She knew it too.
Reading the signals wrong in the gym, and they had like the music on, like it was getting all romantic, and then Mike is like, we're not gonna be a thing. Like,
back up, lady. Back up, lady.
Like a crazy ex-girlfriend, jealous girlfriend, he said.
Yes, and I give her a little credit in that situation too, because you know she looks bad there, right? She doesn't handle looking bad very well. You know what I mean? And I feel like if there were other cast members there, that would have turned into something because it was just him and her. She kind of took it as funny criticism because again, that's a side. I mean, if I saw more of that Gigi, I'd be cooler with Gigi. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not really. I've seen a lot of the irrational shit, or like I need the attention. I need the attention.
I think by the time you came around, she was sick of all of it. She was just ready to. She was just on the defensive, and she was ready to just. Anyone said anything to her, she was ready to fight. That was it.
Well, I also think by the time I came around, there was a serious power struggle amongst the main four of who's going to be who's the most important. You know what I mean? I want my story told. Except Mike. Mike was just trying to run through the raindrops because Mike knew he had a lot of fucking skeletons in his closet, right? So Mike was just like, he wanted everybody to be cool with each other because I don't want you coming at me, dude. You know what I mean? So like, he just wanted everybody to be kumbaya. Let's get these checks. You know what I mean? But the other, like Reza, my wife wasn't like that, but you can't help to be in that. You know what I mean? Like you're just in that situation where who's most important, who's the main one. I feel like, they all would try to, do a little bit extra.
You're going to come back at them. I mean, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, the behind the scenes shit at that point, like now you have a handler, you got a producer that you're dealing with just exclusive when your main cast like that, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like you have there's an element where you feel like, you're real fucking important, and again, I, like I said, I didn't get any taste of that when I got in the picture with Gigi. It felt like a lot of pomp and circumstance for TV, but it was nice to see that she could chill like that. That was like, as I said, that was a good, interesting moment between them, and she was funny at the dinner.
I've always liked her as a character in the show. I really did. That's why when I used to ask you, what your relationship was, I did think you would get along with her better, but I guess you never got to see that side.
Yeah, we just never, and I love Layla. Layla's the best. Layla I speak to a lot. Like we speak, Layla and I. It's not like her through MJ, you know what I mean? We have a relationship too, and Layla's great. But then the next scene we see Asa go with the Persian Barbara Walters. That's a bullshit scene. I know that, like, I know they've already decided to film that thing at her house. You know what I mean? Now they're just creating a scene to show why they're going to film that at her house. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like for me watching that, she was fun, she was different, she was fun to watch. It was all good. As the seasons go on, you start to realize how full of shit she is, and then MJ also starts to tell you, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's
and that's why it's tough for me because
Mhm.
I only know the end. I only
Yeah,
know how you know what I mean? So like to start at the beginning, it's like that's fucking this is
exactly.
nonsense. You know what I mean? Like, but that's bullshit. That's nonsense, you know. So it's tough for me. But that's why you still see the people that love Asa. And I'm not like trying to, coming out like it's just hard for me because I feel like I'm just like I said, I feel like she's trying to sell me something constantly as I'm watching.
Everyone starts to feel that after a while. You know what I mean? In the beginning, you're not ready for it. You're just starting to see it. It's fun. It's cute. It's quirky. It's all different. She's an artist. But by the end, when there's like the water and the this and the that, you're like,
Cap dance. She got fucking. You could get a traveler's set. You could get her CD, a bottle of water, and a caftan for fucking $49.95. You know what I'm saying? Like Miss Cleo with the fucking thing on her head too. It's like, yeah, for $49.95, act now fast. You get all tree. You get all tree. So it's just tough for me to watch it. But yeah, but that scene, like that's one of those scenes that, all right, how do we know? That means the producers were out doing their job, trying to find locations. Where are we going to do this? Where are we going to shoot this? She would be great. So it's like, okay, we got to get that on camera. Because you could see by the reaction, or that the Persian Barbara Walters, I don't remember, that she wasn't a very good actress when she was like, I know, we'll do it in my house. You could see it's just like I could see because I've been there. You know what I mean? I've been on one of these shows. I could tell that you're acting, bitch. You know what I mean? But and then after we see my wife and Sammy have the confrontation at the Glendon, which is actually a friend of it was his bar. He sold it. And that person, Nick Jacobs, if you're out there and you listen, shout out Nick. He makes the best wings in the history of Los Angeles, or that I've ever had. So shout out Nick. But at that meetup where she says it's classic Sammy, it's, when they're wrong, you just attack. And to me, that's classic. That's classic Persian, dude. You know what I'm saying? It's not Sammy. It's my fucking wife. It's fucking Reza. It's fucking any of these people. When they're wrong, they don't. It's not like, oh, my bad. You know what I mean? It's attack. Burn the village down.
What it was about too, though, I don't know if it's just the climate we're in now and stuff like that. Like where it just the first time I saw it, I remember a lot of things from what was that, the first season. I didn't remember that, and I can't believe it didn't stay with me because when he's saying, "Oh, stop it, you were having a good time," and then he like you said, then he attacks her character and how she's gone on dates and stuff like that. It hit me so the wrong way that I was actually wondering, how is she still friends with him? But obviously, I know we get past things in relationships and friendships, but that was really messed up. That was like.
Well, listen, this is another situation where her mother and the way her mother has treated her has conditioned her to sometimes accept less. You know what I mean? Where sometimes people can be fucking ruder than don't get me wrong. I'm happy that they've made amends. Sammy's a good guy. He's in our life. You know what I mean? But I totally agree with you. And I guarantee you, again, if this was season 3, season 4, in the prime of when the cancel culture was at its height, and he was main cast, he would have had a whole fucking shitstorm that he would have been just from the dialogue and the words that he used at that bar. It's all third rail type shit, dude. You know what I mean? You can't be like, well, you were kind of asking for it. You look like you wanted it. Like that's all shit that they fucking say when you're at the courthouse, bro. That's all shit that they say in questioning. When you're like, yeah, she seemed like she wanted it, man. She was loving it, man. She was creaming for me, man. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but and again, instead of him kind of just being accountable, just being like, yo, man, and the time I thought totally different, but I knew once you ran out of there that maybe I was misreading the situation and I apologize. I won't put you in that type of situation again. No, No, they can't do it. That's why
No,
these
the
persons
double
are
down.
great for reality TV. They just like they're immune to it. He's like, ah, no, fuck that. Double down. It was your fault. You should have worn pants.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what the fuck, bro? It was crazy, man. It was crazy. It was definitely I still think of the episodes so far. I think that the fifth was the best. I think that that was kind of like had the most emotion, most range of shit. This one I could tell it's kind of a hodgepodge. Like you can
Mm-hmm.
see, like even that scene when he goes running with Reza, nothing happens there. You could tell they just had a bunch of footage that they've shot, and now we're trying to put some shit in. You know what I mean? Like it didn't really have anything to do with the story.
He actually told him that he was fat. He fat shamed him, which is also a problem. But
Yeah. It's all right. It's all right. Don't worry. Listen, Rez also fact shames enough too, from what I understand. So he probably has it coming to him on some level too.
Mike told him, "You're fat. You have to go run." And so he said, "Okay, you're right. Let's go run."
Yeah, and then Gigi again. Case in point, Gigi and Asa had that sit down about the dinner that they went to, and Gigi just can't. At some point, she says, I was wrong, which is like huge, like to have a fucking parade. But she also
Not
has
really.
to, it's like, but I need you to kind of say she was wrong too. You know what I mean? It's always like
I
an
think she said,
apology with like with a twist.
she was wrong. I think she said maybe she has to not react so much, but she did because, and she was
Yes.
right. I don't think she
Yes.
ever said that.
Yeah. Everything was because of, yeah, she's not just crazy. You know what I mean? Like she just,
Like,
she,
you have to try not to say terrible stuff to people, and she was like, "Well,
that was
I
the
can't."
final. That was the final quote. I wrote it down. You're so good. We're simpatico, Jess. I thought that was hilarious. She was like, well, try not to say horrible things to people. And Gigi's like, like, like that's like the conversation and the advice started way differently. It was like you overreact, you trigger, and the best way they could extract out of that was, well, maybe you should just try not to say horrible things to people. And it was still kind of like, we'll see.
She was like, "I'm going to say horrible things, and
Yes,
other people didn't say anything horrible back. How about that?"
yes.
Okay.
So a nut, what a nut. And then of
And then
course,
like, main character.
yeah, and then we have that dinner with my wife, or that lunch between my wife and my mother-in-law. And you know I've been at that lunch 20 times. You know what I mean? I've had that meal with them 20 times, 100,
Mm-hmm.
where hey, everything's going great. Oh, do you want chicken? Oh, yeah. And then all of a sudden the cats start going at each other. But I do think that my wife, that's like knowing my wife. She went on a trip, and now she's come back and she says, I want our relationship to completely change." You know what I mean?
Also,
It's a little unreasonable expectations that you have right out of the gate. You know what I'm saying?
also, his family was accepting that he was gay, so it's like, can't you just accept that I'm MJ? Like, come
Yeah,
on.
man. And yeah, Vida, well, listen, let's also be honest with this too. You know, if Vita was ever going to make those type of changes or become more motherly, I think the worst thing that you could ever do was put her on fucking reality television, dude. You know what I mean? Because she has fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's got people that validate that type of behavior. You know what I mean? Like, I love you, Vita. You're the best. It's like, all right, yeah, no, so it gives her the type of pat on the back that I don't think she necessarily needed or deserved. And it also emboldens her, kind of makes her double down on shit, you know? And again, that like her telling her that she wasn't marriage material to me was her looking into a mirror and speaking to herself, that she was trying to take all that shit, the reason she didn't want to get married and the reason she didn't want to be a mother and the reasons that all that, and making it MJ's, you know what I mean? And I just don't think, and that point in her life, maybe MJ felt the same way. She might have, but I
I mean,
don't think that.
that's like in the beginning of the show. That's what she's saying. Like, I'm not your average Persian girl. I'm
Yeah,
not looking to settle down. I care more about my career. That's
absolutely,
basically.
absolutely. But to hear it said to
Mhm.
you by your mother,
Well, that's
like it's the
probably
same
what.
thing with Reza saying like your mom don't love you, man. There's got to be an element of that where it's like you smile and you know you're cheeky about it, but it's got to hit you somewhere. You know what I mean? It's got to
Definitely,
be painful to hear it.
for sure.
Now, um, are you season two? Do you know what's coming? Like I don't. I haven't watched it. Like what?
I
Like
do. Refreshing.
I know that the drama goes up a notch, and I'm willing to bet that was spearheaded by Reza. And this is no way an indictment of Reza. I'm just saying, again, he's taking the ship. Like he's the leader
Yeah,
of
so
this group.
I'll tell you what's coming. So what's coming is he befriends Asa more. He
Okay.
talks more about how great she is, and that's his bestie. And MJ doesn't like it, and then they start competing for his attention, and then they're all kind of
Okay.
going together
I
for
got you.
nothing. Yeah,
I got
that's
you.
exactly what happened. Yeah,
Yeah, because I could tell in this, like Rez is not looking to go back to sell fucking real estate, dude. You know what I mean? He
no,
wants to be on reality television. So I
yeah,
know that at this point in
for that.
time, they're all having conversations between each other off camera, like, yo, we need to bring it next year. We got to bring it. And that's why I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure, because I've heard season two is like crazy. You know what I mean? I've
Yeah,
heard, and so I'm willing to bet these crazy Persians we're like, yo, man, we got to ramp this up. So like we like we like the treatment. You know what I mean? We like being on TV, and in order to stay on TV, we're gonna have to turn this thing up a notch.
I can't remember what it's about, but I do remember that.
Okay, okay. Well, listen, Jess, I love you. You know that this was a great recap. Do you have anything you want to say as a parting before we get out of here?
No, I love you. It's been fun,
I love you
and
too, kid. You look
hope we can
great,
do it
by
again.
the way. You look dynamite. We'll see you soon. We'll see you at Bernalini's wedding.
All right. See you
All
soon.
right,
Love you.
kiddo. You have a great night. All right.
All right. Good night.
Great having you.
Thanks.